What's up, guys? Welcome back to another worship guitar tutorial. Thanks for coming back. We're doing a live tutorial today, so we are going to have a little bit of fun. And today we're going to go through Homesick for Heaven by Phil Wickham. The BPM is 117, and we're in the key of D. The tones that I'm using today are from the Phil Wickham This Is Amazing Grace patch that I created for the Helix. It's also available for the HX Not Pod Go and HX Effects if you have any of these. But I'm using This Is Amazing Grace as a starting point, and I'm just changing a couple things. Obviously the BPM, I changed it to 117, and I took off the modulation, but this is kind of what the basic tone sounds like. You can kind of hear the delays. I'm using a quarter note and a dotted eighth delay. This is one of those songs where we kind of want the delays to do a little bit of the work for us. So that's the tone that I'm using. By the way, I have the tabs for free in the description in the original key, in the key of D. So I'm going to be referencing the tabs for this tutorial that I created. And you're going to want to look at them because a lot of these different sections are super long and like drawn out. So it's going to be kind of hard to memorize them at first because there's, for example, like two different versions of the chorus, two different versions of the bridge, and those are kind of all like strung out in long movements, and there's changes in everything. So highly recommend that you check them out. They're in the link in the description below. So the first thing that I want to go over are those pickup notes. It's kind of that main riff, and it sounds like this. We're in the key of D, and it's super pentatonic sounding. It's on the 7th fret, starting on the B string. So it's 7, 5, 7 on the E string, and then back to 5, and then a pull off from 7 to 5 on the B string, and then you land on the 7th fret G string, which is your root note, your D note. So try to drill that into your brain because it's going to pop up in a bunch of different spots in the song. So that's the basic concept of the pickup notes. So for verse 2, when the guitar comes in, one thing I want to mention is that in a couple of these different parts, when I went and listened to the guitar tracks, one of the things that whoever does the Phil Wickham tracks, they record like 8 different guitar parts. And so a lot of the times when I go to take a deep dive and tab out the main parts for the Phil Wickham songs, they're found on like different tracks. Or there are certain tracks where it's like there's a really prominent riff that you hear in the mix, but it's like that's all that happens in the track. So a lot of these tracks are really spread out. And so when I create the tabs, I'm thinking of it mostly for myself because I grew up in a church where it's just me as the guitar player. And so I have to cover a lot of different ground and try to like blend different parts together. And so when I create these tabs, I'm thinking of that in mind, because I would say most churches are going to have probably one electric guitar player, and it's pretty rare that I've ever played with even just a secondary guitar player. So all that being said, the verse 2 and the chorus is kind of a blend of different tracks and things that I've heard of what I would play during the if I were playing this on a normal Sunday. So the verse sounds like this. So for example, going off of what I said, that lick was in its own track by itself. So you'd just be kind of sitting there if you were just playing that track. So I added a little bit of this 7th fret kind of rhythmic thing that you can play in between and then hop over to that and stab that riff. And so if I were to take the delays off so you can hear it a little clearer. The rhythm is this. So you can either play it like that. Here's what it sounds like with delays if you were to just play it like that. And it sounds cool. Like you could play it simply like that. For me, I like to do a down-up kind of rhythmic thing and then actually accent those notes like that I was just playing. And the way that I would do that is if I take the delays off. So a lot of that happens on the upstroke. So if I were to take away the accents, it's 16th notes, I believe. So it's down, up, down, down, up. So if I were to add delays, it goes. So pick whichever one you like. It sounds good regardless if you have the delays really hot in the mix, but now you have to figure out where does that come in on the beat, that riff. So it comes in halfway through every fourth measure. Or actually, no, it doesn't. It comes at the very end of the third measure. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's leading into that fourth measure. So if I were to just play it simply. So hopefully that helps you learn this part. I'm actually going to tune for a second. So that is how I would attack the verses. And after that, we're actually leading into the pre-chorus. So there is a prominent lead line that's happening. Let me turn my delays back on. So it's... So that's really the main difference between the pre-chorus and the verse. And what I would do is continue that 7th fret G string and then find those notes and pick them up as I'm rhythmically playing. Oh, so it's first. It's play it again. But simply without all of that rhythmic stuff, it's 7 to 5 on the B string, land on the 7th fret B string or G string. So it's then it's 8, 7, 5. So if you can't play the rhythmic thing or you don't want to play the rhythmic thing, make sure you hit those notes. So at the end of the second pre-chorus, that's where you'll drop for 2 beats. So you'll just hold there, go into the chorus. So now for the chorus, I'm basically doing the same thing that I mentioned before. I'm kind of blending different pieces together into one guitar part. So here's what that would sound like. tracks, that would count as chorus 1. So what I'm playing here is a 7th fret. The first shape is basically your G shape, your G chord, or your 4. It would be the 7th fret, G string, and then 8th fret, B string. All 8th notes. Basically what's going to happen is your ring finger is not going to move. You're staying on that note. But what's happening is the movement is changing on the B string. Then the first finger on the B string. 5th fret. And what's happening is that's where that seam is on the tracks that I mentioned of blending the different tracks. It goes back to the 7th fret G string by itself, and then 8, 7, 5 on the B string. So I'm gonna play it in context. So that's chorus 1. Moving on to chorus 2. It sounds pretty similar. So that's taking you straight into the bridge. Again, I blended some other tracks. So you're going to have to hop up to that 14th fret. So it's the G string 4th fret and E string, or 14th fret and E string 14th fret. You'll alternate. To the 12th fret. And then 15th, you'll alternate between the 15th fret B string and 12th fret E string. So if I were to count it, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And you're ramping up into the bridge, so you want to dig into that and strum that 15th fret B string and build into the bridge. Okay, so there's a bridge 1 and a bridge 2. So bridge 1 sounds like this. And then it goes. Okay, so we're starting that on the 12th fret B string, to the 10th, to the 17th, and then it's 17, 15. But the second time through that progression, you go from the 17th to the 14th fret E string. Going into bridge 2, it's 15, 14, 12, 12, 14, 15, 14, 12. So in bridge 2, think about it, the melody ramping up. We're hitting that like final crescendo at the end of the bridge. So that's when you hop up to that E string, but I'll play that again. It starts on the 15th fret on the E string. 14, 12, 12, 14, 15, 14, 12. And you'll hold that note. So that was bridge 1 and bridge 2. The last thing I want to go over happens towards the end of the song, and it's kind of similar to what you play down here. It's the same shape, but you're going to just do it 12 frets above, and you'll just go up the scale and back down. So it's all quarter notes. So it starts on the 19th fret on the G string to the 17th fret B string. Same outline that you'd played here. Just up here. So it's 19, 17, 19, 17, 19, and then just go back down. You can either land on the 19th fret on the G string at the end, or you could go down to the 15th fret on the B string. So or whichever one you want to do. So that was Homesick for Heaven. Again, it was a lot. There are a lot of notes that are happening. It's kind of this like lengthy progression, especially in the choruses and the bridges. So again, if you want to see the tabs, I have them for free in the description below, and you can follow along. And furthermore, if you want to get the tabs transposed, I have an option for that as well, and a link in the description. A lot of the times in the worship environments that I'm in, we change the keys all the time. So if you have trouble changing the keys on things, I have them transposed in all 12 keys. And again, you can find that through the link in the description below. But appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.